a lot of people are not where they think they should be because they are not as good as they think they are. Now that's not hating, that's not shade, that's not condescending, that's love, brother. Like that's love. We see it all the time. It's like, yo, people doing courses and it's like, oh my God, my course didn't move. It's like, fam, I watched it.
Yo, before we get to today's show, what if I can show you how to start making six figures right now? Within the next 9 months, you can change your whole life. You can especially change the next 9 years. You know what? I'm so excited. I'm so grateful because I've partnered with Bethel Tech, an online Christian boot camp that is helping people get qualified in the tech field. Now, why is this so important? Let me tell you why. Because the median age for American people was $35,000 in the year 2020. That's almost $2,900 a month, and that is not okay. And so listen, close to 100 people within our tribe has signed up for Bethel Tech. They are learning stuff in the cybersecurity field. They are getting qualified. And the average person, when they finish this program, is making $65,000 a year. And within 1 year, a lot of them are making close to six figures and more. Just recently, someone from our tribe went through the program. Watch this. Went through the program and her first job offer was $125,000. Listen, change the next 9 years of your life. Shift this out. Get into this program so you can get out of debt and start building wealth now. And if you click the link in the show description of today's show, they're going to give you a $1,500 scholarship. And I'm going to give you a little secret. They may even give you an extra $1,000 if you call them, explain to them your situation, where you are in life. You may even get $2,500, but for sure, they're gonna give you $1,500 just for being part of my family. Check out the link in the show description and let's get to today's show. It's your boy.
What's happening? No capping. We with AO, about to get a plate. Oh, pull up to the table. Let's go.
One of the things that I've learned in life is that oftentimes people live below the gifts and the talents that God has put on the inside of them. And a few years ago, I'll probably say when I was in my mid-20s, man, I met this, at this time he was young. He still is young. He's a little bit older than me. He's still young though. Man, there was this guy that I saw preach for the very first time in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, I want to be like that guy when it comes to communicating, because I could tell that he was operating within his purpose, within his calling, and he was mastering that gift and that skill. And I said, yo, I want to teach like this guy. And from then, I followed every sermon, and we've become good friends. Not only just a friend, he's become a mentor of me in a lot of different areas, because this is the guy that I see that he operates within his purpose, and his purpose has produced him a good following, has produced him one of the fastest and one of the most impactful churches in the world, and is also producing him some income. So I'm like, I like this guy, you know, and it also has an amazing, beautiful wife, an amazing, beautiful family. And so I said, yo, I got to get him back on the show. He's already been on my show once and he killed it this time. But you know what? I said, I got to get my brother back on the show because he has a brand new book coming out that is, I believe, is going to shift the world. It's going to shift you. So you guys, before we get to my friend, Pastor Darius Daniels, you all know him, one of the best communicators in the world. He's my favorite communicator. I've said things that he said, and I have given him his credit. You know, I just want him to know that. I do still, but I give the credit at least one good time, and then after that, I act like it's mine. But Pastor Darius Daniels is joining us here virtually today at the table. Before we get there, you guys, make sure that y'all hit that subscribe button because, you know, you all are dating me. I need y'all to marry me because we're growing, we're impacting, and I want to make sure that the world is getting this information every single day. So if you've been a part of the family, thank you. If you like today's show, hit that thumbs up button. But yo, let's get straight into it because this guy is going to be dropping some knowledge. Pastor Darius, man, what's going on, sir?
Hey, yo, what's up, brother? I'm glad to be at the table.
Hey, man, listen, you are at the table for the second time, not the last time, man. But I appreciate you, man, for everything that you're doing, man. What's new with you? Since the last time you've been on the show, I know what's new with you. But what's new with you since it was 2 years ago you was on the show? So what's new since then? You know, your church is just growing, your life is growing, you're impacting, you're doing major things, man. Real quickly, but what's new with Pastor Darius?
Yeah, I think over the past couple of years, yeah, you're right, bro. It's been 2 years since I've been on. You know what I mean? It's like the pandemic is like a blind spot. You know,
It is.
It's just like it's like it's just like we just warped into this year. But anyway, I think the biggest difference, bro, has been me, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later. It's me being introduced these past couple of years. Darius has been introduced to a version of Darius that didn't exist the last time I was on the show. Well, I guess that version of Darius existed, but it wasn't expressed, and that's really just kind of a summary or a weird way of saying, like, these past couple of years, I've really embraced the fact that my life, my sense of call is not to do this or that, is this and that. So I've really been leaning into heavily, I mean, and you know this, kind of the entrepreneurial space and adding value to people through the vehicle of business. So I think that's probably the newest thing that's been happening over the past 2 years, man. But it's been great. It's been a great
Let's go
season.
there, because you're right, man. It's the last time you was on the show. Yeah, you were not doing what you're doing now.
At all.
Like
Not
it
even
was
a little bit.
right. I was like, you are absolutely right, man. It's like, wow. Okay, so let's go there. You have a new book coming out.
Yeah.
Your Purpose is Calling.
Sure.
And I want to talk about that because now it's all coming full circle to me now. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. 2 years ago, we just knew you as Pastor Darius.
Yeah.
Now the world knows you as two different people, Pastor Darius and Darius, the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What made you really write this book, Your Purpose is Calling, and how did you really come into your purpose on the entrepreneurship side? Because I think a lot of people get scared in the spiritual world to pursue the entrepreneurship world. So let's talk about all that. Your Purpose is Calling, and how did you figure out you needed to kind of add this to and accept this within your personal life?
Yeah, well, I think you hit it on the head, bro. This book is a little bit different for me. This is my third book, but this one is the first one where I'm really writing in a way that's like capturing my experience. Wow. So it's almost like I let the world eavesdrop on a conversation I believe God was having with me and I was having with myself. Wow. And what I want people to wrap their head around is when I wrote this book, which was the past 18 months or so, people got to remember, I wrote this book and I was already an author. I was already leading a movement. I was already serving in different ways. But what I realized is that there was an aspect of my assignment that I hadn't tapped into. And so when I'm talking about your purpose is calling, I'm not telling people you're not doing any of the things you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you're doing a lot of the things you're supposed to be doing. What I'm saying, you may not be doing all of the things that you're supposed to be doing. And I'm saying that part of you is calling you. And it's important for you to embrace that, because embracing that aspect of your assignment, this is what it means, El. The reward of that is you get the highest form of compensation. And the highest form of compensation is not finances, it's fulfillment. And you and I both know people who have plenty of finances, but they're poor in the area of fulfillment. And when you're poor in the area of fulfillment, you'll always feel poor.
Yes.
You can be rich and jump off a building if you do not have fulfillment. And so that's what purpose gives you, man. It gives you that highest form of compensation, which is fulfillment and satisfaction. And I just wrote this book for people who might be sensing I'm doing some significant things, but I feel like there's more. Yeah. I want to tell you, if you're feeling that there's more, there probably is more, and greater fulfillment for you is on the other side of that more.
So let's live right there. What if someone, and not what if, there are people who are like, okay, there is more to me, but how do we begin to start that process? And you guys, the reason why I'm asking, I'm going to call him Darius today, because on entrepreneurship side. The reason why I'm asking Darius that today is because a lot of you all don't know, before I made a huge transition to transition, I had a fear. Like, can I do this on my own? There's more on the inside of me, but can I do it? And the first person I talked to was Darius. And I never forget, I called him 2 weeks before. It was on my birthday. Hey, Darius, I need to talk to you on my birthday because I have this feeling on the inside, but I want to make sure I'm thinking right. And this guy looked at me and spoke life and really spoke it into me. He said, man, there's bigger, there's better. Here's how you do it. So this is why I'm asking, because where I am today, a huge part of that are because of the words that Darius and also Pastor Darius spoke into me. So Darius, how do we have this feeling? We have this like sense of there's more. How do we start that process to identify, one, what is it? And two, how do I go about pursuing that is more?
Yeah. Hey, I want to say this, and I'm going to answer the question. I want to say this, though, but I really feel like what you just described about your journey, bro, it's just a perfect picture of like what I'm talking about in this book. When we had that conversation, you are already adding significant value to a number of different people. You are already very profitable, very fortunate, and very financially blessed. But you were sensing, it's what I call your sixth sense. I call it your spiritual intelligence, which is the highest form of intelligence. Your sixth sense was like kind of nudging you that, okay, there's something else, there's more. And so now I look on the other side of that and I look and see what has happened because you paid attention to that. I see the amount of people you're serving now. I see the way that you're serving them now. I see the freedom that you have now to actually serve them in a way that you know they need to be served. Yeah. And then I know, because I mean, we do some stuff together, I also know how your income is exponentially increased as a result of this. And so,
yes, Lord. Yeah. And I was scared. I was like, yo, can I do it? Can I make? And you was like, Anthony, yes. Yes, yeah. You are going to. Yes.
Here's the thing. It was all about. I think for people, if people really, to answer your question, if people really do some introspection and just ask themselves some honest questions, they can get clarity. Clarity is not the hardest thing to get. You can really ask yourself. Like, there are a couple of clarifying questions I would ask a person. I say, hey, if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? Yeah, if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? Like, if I won the lottery today, nothing would change about my week. I know I'm doing nothing would change tomorrow if I won the lottery today, because I found my zone, I found my sweet spot. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, the way I'm supposed to be doing it. But here's the point. The point is, clarifying questions like that, I think deep down, if people ask clarifying questions, they can get clarity. Here's the issue, and I think you had clarity. It was courage. Ooh. That's the issue. It's you kind of know, but when you take a destiny step, man, a destiny step creates disruption. It disrupts your comfort zone. It disrupts some relationships. And so one of the things is, I want you to think about all that has happened now. Now think about what you would have missed out on if you hadn't taken that step. So many times, AO, we're focused on what we might lose if we take a step, as opposed to focusing on what we missing if we don't take a step. And what you would have missed is much greater than what you would have lost. So I tell people, I don't know how to tell you to not be afraid. I can tell you, I want you to take a superior fear and replace an inferior fear with a superior fear. An inferior fear says, what might I lose if I do this? A superior fear says, what might I miss if I don't? I'm scared to do it, but I'm more scared not to do it. So I'm going to do it.
This is why he Darius Daniels. I told y'all, man. When I look back at it, No. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna say I would have missed out on a whole lot. And I think, okay, cool. So we get through the fear part. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's theirs. I see. Theirs. I see it. All right, cool. I'm willing to step out on faith. What's the very first thing that once I identify, I'm willing to step out, have a little bit of fear, because I don't want to miss out on what I'm missing. What's next after that? Like what's the next step after I'm willing to step out?
Yeah, great question. So I think it's 3 stages.
Okay. All
Right?
right.
So 3 steps I would tell someone. Okay, the first one is a step that I call revelation, and we talked a little bit about
Revelation.
that. Yeah, which basically means it's like clarity. All right.
Okay.
What is it exactly that I want to do? Now I deal with a lot of this. Like, this is probably one of the greatest obstacles for people that I work with, at least especially in entrepreneurial space, which is it's like so vague. They don't have clarity, right? And so it's, hey, what do you want to do? I want to help people. Okay, well, write the vision, make it plain so that they can read it, can run with it.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't run with that. You can't move with that, right? That vision isn't made plain enough for you to comprehend it in a way that you can actually take action on it. Mm-hmm. So you got to get so clear that you know what action you need to take. So write it, make it plain so that they that read it can run with it. It's like, yo, when I want to help women, well, okay, well, what kind of women? You want to help divorced women? You want to help single women? You want to help older women? You want to help younger women? You want to help women get whole emotionally? You want to get women get whole financially? You want to help single moms? You want to help stay-at-home moms? And so it's like, I think a lot of times people skip that step, and that step is everything, man, because clarity gives you speed. Okay. I'm going to say that again. Yeah. Clarity gives you speed. You can tell if you're driving behind somebody, they don't know where they're going. You can tell. They like stopping, going. But when you clear, you can accelerate, man. And so many people skip that step. They don't drill down and get clear enough. And which is okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm gonna make sure they get this. So let's say, for an example, I'm gonna use me for an example, because some people disagree with my clarity, right? So I say that I want to help people, one, get out of debt. But when I say I'm going deeper, like you said, when I say people, I love all people, but I'm being honest, I really want to focus on millennials and minorities. And some people say, well, Anthony, the minority is only, 33% of the world. Why are you only focusing on this small group? Aren't you missing out on a whole lot of money, a whole lot of people, because you're only focusing on minorities? What about the other white people who need your help? But I'm like, yo, but wait a minute. It's like, I'm not saying I'm not for everyone. I'm just saying when I generate my content, I'm thinking about minorities. So what I hear you saying is niche down your niche. But people are hearing, like, well, that's so small. What about all of these other people? I know they're probably thinking, Pastor Darius, what about all the people I'm missing out on? I can't get money from them? Is that what you're saying? Or are you just simply saying, just identify where you're going. Everyone can experience you, but you're clear on who you're making content for. You're clear on who you're serving, and it will allow you to move faster.
Yeah, this is what I want to say. I want to say unapologetically, I'm saying niche down. Now, and I want people to understand, I am talking from the perspective of a purpose-driven entrepreneur.
Come on.
So, and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean we aren't profitable. I think purpose-driven entrepreneurs are very profitable. Mm-hmm. But it does mean we believe we can find profit in being purposeful. Mm. Yeah, it means that we don't prostitute our purpose for profit. Mm-hmm. It means that we understand something that maybe an average entrepreneur doesn't understand, and that is every need, not my responsibility. So you saying that, like, God's the only one who meets every need isn't your responsibility. So you're saying, hey, I feel a sense of call to millennials and minorities. You're not saying exclusively. You're not saying that's the only people I help. You're saying primarily. You're saying I'm very clear that my highest and best use, I am at my best when I am serving this group. And I will never apologize for being faithful to the group of people that God's assigned me to. Do you know how many needs there are in the world that I wish I could meet? But every need is not my responsibility, and it's narcissistic of me to assume I'm the only one that can meet those needs. The people that I don't reach are people somebody else has been assigned to reach. So, so I'm not saying, I don't want people to think, I don't want people to think that we're saying, hey, you serve only this group of people. I'm saying you can't be purpose-driven in life or in business if you don't know the difference between your primary and your secondary audience.
That is good.
Like I serve the hungry, bro. Like some people get people motivated. It's like, man, if you don't want it, I'm not your guy. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. But it's like, if you don't want it yet, like, come to me when you want it, and then I'll show you how to get it. There are other people that help you want it. And so I don't apologize for that. I've been wired for that. I got unique design. I got unique dreams. I got unique discontent. I got unique destiny. And all of that is for the people group that I'm supposed to serve.
Yeah.
And Anthony, here's the truth. I'm going to make the greatest impact with that group, and I'm going to make the greatest income with that group.
So we got
You
the
can do
revelation.
more with less.
More with less.
Yeah.
More with less. So we got the revelation, which means get clear. Once you get clear, identify who do you want to serve, why you want to serve. Oftentimes I say, y'all, if your why doesn't make you cry, the price of commitment will make you cry. It came from this guy right here, Darius.
Yeah.
Daniels. And it's like, I think about that all the time. Why am I getting up every single day? Why do I serve these people? Why do I want them debt free? And when I think about that, it gets me emotional and it fuels me. So, okay, look, we got the number one, revelation. What's number two, man? This is. I hope y'all are taking notes because this is brilliant, and y'all have to get his book. But we're going to drop all of his information in today's show notes because all of this is in his book, and y'all have to be following him. I mean, if you're not following Darius Daniels, respectfully, you don't want to grow. I've grown so much with him being a friend and a brother and a mentor in my life. And we don't talk every day. We don't even talk every single week. But he'll call me. I'll call him. I'll ask him questions. And I just listen. And I've grown tremendously because of him and his amazing wife, my sister. So we're going to drop all the information below because I really want y'all to continue getting this information, get inside some of his courses, get his books. One of his courses just blew my mind. The guy has so much information, so we'll drop that below. But all right, we got the revelation part. Once we identify the revelation, what's next, Darius?
Yeah. So the next is interpretation. So it's one thing to know what do I want to do, or basically like who do I help and what results do I help them get? Clarity. All right. But then, so that part's key. And man, there's so much we can talk about even with the clarity part because your emotional intelligence and self-esteem and all of that plays into your ability to get clear, right? Like you got to know what walk in the room when you walk in there. You have to know that. You have to know what problems you've been created to solve. But so it's one thing to be clear on that. Who do I help and what results do I help them get? Revelation. Second is interpretation. And that's this. What's the way I do it though? Like, yeah, what's the way I do it? Based on the way I've been wired, based on what my gifts are. Like, so there are people who teach people like myself. I teach people orally. I mean, I use written material, right? But I'm more than an author. But there are authors who don't really speak. And there are authors who can't really speak that well.
Yeah.
So we both can say we're in the self-education business.
Right.
But the way I do it, through coaching and courses and mastermind groups and things like that, might be completely different than the way someone else does it. They might write books. They might write blogs. So that next step is being okay with interpreting, okay, now based on the way I'm wired, what's the best way to do it? Because if not, we get caught up in this culture of conformity and we end up conforming to methods that are not best for you because when you want something to work, you start doing what you think is working for other people as opposed to really believing your way works if you work it. And so that's kind of what I mean there with interpretation. There are people like you who are helping people with debt and getting free financially, but they're not doing it the way that you're doing it.
No. And you know what? It's like people will be watching. It's like, well, man, I feel convicted because I started doing what I saw them doing, but what they were doing is not working for me.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man. Sometimes, especially even out on my own, I'll look at other people who are in the money space. I'm like, yo, this is working for them, but it won't work for me. So don't even go over there, Anthony. Actually, as a matter of fact, unfollow them. Don't even see it anymore because you know your lane. But it takes maturity for me to understand it works for them, but it will not work for me. And it's like, in your space, because you're teaching this within your book, you're teaching this within your courses and curriculums and your masterminds, right? How do you teach people to be okay with their method? Because they may see somebody else with a different method in the same space and making a lot of money, but their method is not making them any money right now. because they may be new to it. So how do we encourage people to stay in their lane, stay within their interpretation, and to pursue their route, their way of doing things without giving up because they see something else working?
Yeah, I think one of the things, this is just probably a point of clarification, and that is, I mean, I think both of us do this. Of course, there are going to be times where you need to evaluate and make adjustments, like with your methodology. What I am saying is, and there are going to be times where, like, one of the ways we learn is through observation. We see what's happening in other people, and it's okay to see an example of something that's happening in another person, and if there's a part of your authentic self that resonates with that, it's okay to take that aspect of that person's methods or approach and apply it to you, because all of our methods are going to be like a combination of stuff that we've learned ourselves and stuff that we've learned from other people. But taking something you resonate with from someone and applying it to your methodology is completely different than adopting their methodology. Now, I'm not going to get specific with this, like, but I know, like, let's say if a person's a part of, like, of a speaker training, right? Let's say someone's a part of a speaker, they're part of a group, and it's like, it's one thing for them to learn the practices of the mentor. It's another thing when they try to take on the personality of the mentor. It's like, yo, that's not even your personality, but it's like, but you feel like, and it's like, and for you, of course it works for him, because that's authentically him, or that's authentically her. So it works for them. But it's like you coming in with all this like aggression or whatever, and it's like, that doesn't work for you, because it's not, it's not authentic to who you are. And so I think what people need to do is like, yo, tweak your method and master your method, because maybe your method's not working because you haven't mastered it. Now, yo, this is a part I deal with all the time, because whenever somebody's stuck, this is game for the table, Ayo. This is game for the table. Whenever somebody's stuck, especially entrepreneurially, it's one of three areas, or many of these three areas. It's either going to be a character issue. And when I say character, I'm not talking about ethics. I'm not talking about good, bad person. I'm talking about certain character traits that either they don't have or they need to have more of in order to get the result they're trying to get. So a character trait is something like focused. It's like, well, I'm focused, but are you as focused as you need to be to get the result you're trying to get? Because people who get those kind of results have a different level of focus. Are you resilient? Like, do you quit every time something doesn't work? Or so it's character traits. So sometimes people don't have something and they need to get it. Sometimes they have it and they need to scale that trait. The other thing is this, it's competence. And that's a skill. And I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of people are not where they think they should be because they are not as good as they think they are. Now that's not hating, that's not shade, that's not condescending, that's love, brother. Like, that's love. We see it all the time. It's like, yo, people doing courses and it's like, oh my God, my course didn't move. It's like, fam, I watched it. We gotta work on that speaking. We gotta work on that energy. We gotta work on that engagement. And so, anyway, so it's that, and then the other is like confidence, and that's a mindset, because that determines how you show up and how you do a thing. So, man, if people are stuck, it's primarily gonna be in one of those areas, and we kind of. If you master that, you don't always have to change your method. That's my point. Look at your character, look at your competence, look at your confidence. And if you tweak those things, your method might not be the issue.
One of the things that I've learned from you, right, is on the competence side of things. And it's like one thing that you've personally convicted me without you even telling me is, I think competence is because of lack of willing to study for yourself. And one thing about you is that I've learned is you just enjoy studying, period. Like, you just enjoy reading, period. You're not reading to preach on Sundays. You're not reading to create a new course. You just study like you just eat candy. And I think
no,
you don't?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. People think that.
For real?
No. I would much rather play video games, work out, watch Netflix. I would much rather do that. I hate losing. I hate being ignorant.
Ooh.
Ignorance is expensive. Ignorance cost me too much early on in life. It cost me too much. It cost me in business. It cost me as a leader. It cost me. So I would rather not get up every morning and do my reading routine and all of that. I would rather not do that. But the pain of living without the results of that is greater than the pain of doing that. So I do it. So I just want to clarify that. I hope I didn't mess up your point.
You ain't messed up nothing.
But I don't want people to think, you just love me. No, I don't, bro. I'd much rather be on 2K and Madden and God of War. Like, yeah, I'd much rather be doing something else. Traveling, hanging out with friends, eating. I would much rather do that.
But you make it seem like you enjoy studying, but you enjoy it because you hate losing.
Exactly.
And that just shifted the whole daggone show. Like, as long as I've known you, I just thought you just enjoy studying. But now it's like, I get it. It all makes sense. You've experienced stuff in the past that I don't know, that I don't know about. But it's like, yo, I don't want to go back there.
That's right.
So I put systems into place to make sure that I do not go back there.
That's right. That's exactly right. 100%. 100%. So, like, I grew up in Kilmichael, Mississippi, population less than 500 people, bro. So, I played basketball, but I knew in high school I wasn't going to the NBA. I was good enough to go to college. So I knew that wasn't my way out. Wow. I don't think anybody from my town has ever gone to the league. Right. So my hands wasn't my way out. My head was. So for me, it wasn't just like, yo, just read to just read. It's like, yo, I got to get out. I have to get out. My parents wanted me to get out. My parents sacrificed for me to get out. This is my way out. And it just taught me a principle, man. You always go to the next level in any area head first.
Head first.
You got to get the head, the mind. When you get this out, then the money follow. Then the relationship follows. Then the career follows. So, yeah, man. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't.
Yo, listen, man. You just made me feel convicted. Like, man, that's what you weren't supposed to do this on my show, bro. Goodness gracious. This man said, I study because I do not like to lose. And the reason why some of us are losing in certain areas of our life is because we're not willing to go ahead in first.
Yeah.
But we want to copycat. We want to just go watch a YouTube show, duplicate what they did, what they said, hoping that it would impact the same way via our mouth. But if it doesn't come from our heart, from our head, from us studying to show ourselves approved, it's not going to be impactful.
Hey, let me ask you this. Now, this is your interview, but we're just having a conversation. They eavesdropping on our conversation, basically. I'm asking you questions. You're supposed to be interview. But so you're a speaker, right? So you're a speaker. Mm-hmm. And, but you're also an interviewer. Yeah. Right? Yep. So you speak on stages. You just came to one of our mastermind events in Miami. Yep. You spoke to our inner circle. So you're speaking on a stage there. You speak on stages, but then also you're speaking through conversation on this platform, the table. Yep. And what the average person who's looking at you doesn't realize is that those are two completely different skill sets.
Absolutely.
That they are both, like, speaking standing up on a stage versus speaking sitting down in a conversation is two completely different skill sets. And if people were to ask you, if I saw you do both of these things 6 years ago, were you as good at them then as you are now? You would say, undoubtedly no. Right? But there are some things that you did to get better and some things that you learned. And I'm going there because I want to debunk the myth that if I just get reps, I get better. I learned this in basketball. When I went from high school to college, my college coach changed my jump shot because he was like, your form does not give you enough arc. So you can shoot 1 million shots a day and you will not optimize because you got to fix the form. So people just think, what? I've been practicing on my own. It's like, nah, man, you need repetition but you also need some coaching, some instruction, some feedback, because there's some little tweaks that I'm sure you've made over this 5-6 year period.
Absolutely.
And those small tweaks have taken you to giant peaks when it comes to the skill set.
Man, you're absolutely right. Just recently stepping out on my own, I've been speaking for years, right? And I'm learning how to better serve in the entrepreneurship space, right? And one of my, I hired a coach recently to teach me how to go from speaking and really just properly sell to how to properly sell while serving. And he watched one of my talks where I was trying to serve, and he said, respectfully, that sucked. I was like, wait, what? I was like, I've been speaking for years. He was like, yeah, but there's a difference between just speaking to influence than also speaking and then serving your audience. You got to position it.
You're talking about the most recent guy you told me about?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, so yeah. So we need to make sure the audience is clear. We're talking about like somebody just said this like last month.
Yeah.
So this is not 2 years ago.
Yeah. He just
like
literally,
actually,
literally just about maybe 3-4 weeks ago. He was like, yeah, the talk was encouraging, but it didn't convince me that I needed to purchase this from you. So Anthony, that sucked. So let's change that. Let's make it better. And I was like, man, I've been speaking since I was 20-something years old. No one never told me that sucked. Yeah. But I paid him to be my coach to help me understand how I can get better. And it just complements what you've said. Like, hey, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to put this into place. And here's the thing. I'm not going to suck as bad, but I'm just going to get better. I'm going to get better and better and better from reputations, yes, but then also from getting the proper coaching. But also what I love about it, because I'm bringing it back full circle, doing that allows me to really activate and to live within my purpose. Because I really don't believe you can be in your purpose without the right people around you, coaching you, mentoring you, and telling you the things that you need to hear that may not be comfortable at the time. But I don't think anything extraordinary happens within inside of our comfort zone. And I don't really think we can really live in our purpose zone if we're not willing to be uncomfortable and get the coaching that we need to get.
100%.
And I'm like,
that's
man.
huge. That's really the final step. You know, that revelation, interpretation.
Yep.
The last one is application. And that is, what is the wisest way for me to do this? Like, so now that I know the way that I do it, what's the wisest and the best way for me to do this? Yeah. And that's where what you mentioned, a coach and a community comes into play. Man, I'm amazed I feel like the work I'm doing in the entrepreneurial space helps me be such a better pastor because it helps me see where the church is failing. Right? Because I'm like, why am I having to do so much mindset work in the entrepreneurial space? Like, why don't people believe in themselves? I was like, I'm going to spend 70% of my time with mindset. It's like, man, how people been in these religious spaces all of their life and they don't have this. It just kind of, so it showed me that we've kind of, some areas where we kind of needed to make adjustments. And so it's helped me see why community is needed even more, because you got to be surrounded by not just good people, but people who want what you want. Yeah. And that's two different criteria. It's like, oh my God, she's a good person. She don't want nothing, no. But he's a good person. Like, yo, you don't want anything. And so I'm not saying don't be their friend. I'm just saying you need some people in your life, like lions need prides. Yeah. And so you need people, you need a community of people in your life that actually want what you want, have some experiences, and can help you kind of make some of these wise decisions and do. And I'm telling you, man, when you get the right coach and right community, they turn decades into days.
Yes, sir. Yes,
decades into days. Yes, decades into days. Like, obviously, people kind of in the religious space who see what I'm doing in the entrepreneurial space and try to jump into the entrepreneurial space, not realizing, like, yo, bro, there was a whole gap of time where there's coaching and mentoring and masterminds, and me recognizing one of the most important investments I can make is investing in myself. I ain't got time to figure it out for 30 years. You know it. Bro. You tell it to me. Yo, we just did this. We just spent 2 days in Miami this summer, and we did a VIP day together.
Yep.
So you trained me on some stuff.
Yep.
And me and my wife trained you on some stuff.
And listen, I made some money off of y'all's trainings. No, I'm so serious. I was like, y'all, he's not playing. We went to Miami, and we literally spent 2 whole days just teaching, learning, diving in. And the information that I taught him was everything that I've learned over the last year of my life and information they've been doing. And I mean, y'all, I've applied that stuff to my life, and it has helped my business grow. It has literally helped my business grow. But here's the thing, though, too, Darius. I asked you this question because we're Christians, right? So we have a lot of our followings are Christians. A lot of Christians believe that our purpose shouldn't make us a lot of money. Like we shouldn't because we're Christians. We shouldn't have millions of dollars coming in. Our purpose, our calling, our assignment from up above. Because I think what you're doing, while it is on the entrepreneurial side of things, it is still attached to even your heavenly assignment. But it's like they're like, I feel guilty making $1 million. I may feel guilty making $100,000 off of my purpose. Like, should we feel guilty making good money?
Now, we only just talking to Chris. I had to pull out the Bible on this one. So I'm gonna pop in and pop right back out. I promise you, I'm not about to turn this into a Sunday service. I promise you that we're not going there. Don't log off. Wait a minute. Hey. I want to. This is what I think. I think in my experience, and when I say it's pastorally and entrepreneurially, and I've been pastoring close to 20 years here, this is what I learned. When it comes to people's theology of money, most people believe what Christians believe about money, but they don't know what the Bible says about it. So if you were to ask them, what does it say about money besides the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, meaning people will do all sorts of things for money. Doesn't mean that everything is evil as a result of love of money. It means that love of it will make people do all sorts of evil things. But if you ask the average believer, like, yo, besides that, kind of like, what do you, you know what I mean? Like, what do you know? So I'm gonna just read this. This is Proverbs 11:26. It says, people curse the one who hoards grain, but they pray God's blessing on the one who is willing to sell. Selling is serving, guys. God is he's anti-exploitation, He's anti-manipulation. He's anti-predatory behavior. He's anti-dishonesty. He's not anti-profit. He's not anti-profit.
Oh, man.
And so is every aspect of your purpose profitable? No. Can some aspects of your purpose be profitable? Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you this, whether it's your profit or someone else's profit, most people need profit to accomplish their purpose. Mother Teresa didn't create profit, but she couldn't feed nobody without profit. Where's the food coming from? So someone has to be profitable to fund some of these things. So sometimes it's like the people who don't believe in profit are judging the people that are profitable, but they have passionate causes that can only be funded by people that are profitable. So you can be profitable without being dishonest, exploitive, predatory, and manipulative. You can be profitable. There's a woman in the Bible. Bible talks about how her husband passed away. She was left with debt. She went to her husband's, and back in those days, you could use human labor as a way of debt repayment. So creditors would come in to take her 2 children, her 2 sons. She goes to her husband's mentor and says, these creditors are about to come and take my 2 sons. My husband's dead. What should I do? He told her, I want you to take the oil that's in your house. I want you to go borrow jars. I want you to pour that oil in the jars, and I want you to sell it. And this is what he said. He says, I want you to take the profit. I want you to pay off your debt, and I want you to live off the rest. The oil was in her house. She had that. She borrowed the jars. She didn't pay anything for that. It was all profit. It was all profit. So that's kind of where I am on that.
But she took what was in the house. She took what was in the house. She took what she already had and made profit from what she already had. And it goes back to what you're teaching, what I'm teaching. What is on the inside of you that you haven't even activated yet, that is in your house, and make money?
Exactly. It's like, don't you think part of that woman's purpose was to save her kids?
That's what I'm.
It's like, yeah, she needed money for that. Yeah, she needed money. Like when her husband's mentor was a spiritual leader, and this guy did not give her a sermon, bro. He didn't give her a sermon. He was actually a prophet. He didn't give her like a prophetic word. He was just like, yeah, here's a plan to make some profit. Because this need is a money need. This is not a spiritual need. It's a money need.
Right.
And so
right.
this is how you use what you already have.
Yes.
To meet a need you don't know how to meet.
Oh my gosh. Listen, guys. if you all don't get this man's book, I don't think
they made me pull out the Bible. Hey, yo, why you make me pull out the Bible? I had to pull out the Bible.
But it's like Darius Daniels cannot come on the table and not pull out the Bible at all. That is your signature ingredient. It's like you've learned how to master. Like you inspired me to do this every single morning now because I thought you did it because you loved it. And I was trying to force myself to love it. And I could never get there. But now I'm like, I get it. Now I can think like Darius. I'm studying because I'm afraid to lose. I'm studying because I'm afraid to be second. I'm studying because I'm fearful of not doing and operating within my purpose. But now it's good to know we're on the same page. But it's like, man, it's like when you look at what I do now, it's like I study my word and I study my world. And when I say I study my world, I study like finances. I study, what's happening within my world that I'm serving. And I download from the word, I download from the world, and then it generates content from there. And I love that because it's like, man, when I listen to you, it's like you've learned how to master the word and the world and bring it in together. And there's not a lot of pastors who can do that. And all the pastors who watching me, I love you. You know that. But let's just give Darius, this brother. I was about to call him Negro, but this brother is he's just a science in that. And that's why I want to encourage you all to get his book. Because he's going to give you his signature. He's going to give you the word, but he's going to make it so practical that you understand how to apply it in your everyday life. And
hey, yo, let me say one thing, Ayo.
Yo.
Now I don't know if you're old enough for this.
Uh-oh.
You remember the saying "milk does a body good"? Do you remember
Absolutely. What you mean? I didn't know that.
Okay. Yo, bro. Hey, I'm just saying. I ain't got you by that many years. I got you by a few years.
Right.
Because it's almost like I think when you say something, I'm sorry if I interrupted, but
you good.
I want to interject this because I feel like people expect me to be that way when it comes to scriptures because I'm religious. And it's like, no, this is the most reliable and the most consistent source of information that I know for me that exists for me to build my life on. Because everything else y'all tell me keep changing. So like I'm growing up, you tell me milk does a body good. Now you telling me dairy bad for me. You told me 3 meals a day. Then you told me 5 meals a day.
Right.
Now you're telling me to do intermittent fasting. It's like, I'm confused. You know what I mean? It's like everything is changing. So I figured, okay, I need the most reliable source of information to build my life on because y'all keep switching stuff up on me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to apply it to my life and I'm going to apply it to my business. And I'm like, yo, I'm not just doing this because I think it's right. I'm doing this because this is better for me. I'm not saying if it's better, but it's better for me. It's getting me the results that I want to need in my life. And I just kind of wanted to say that because I know, of course, he's going to bring in about. It's like, nah, fam. It's like all this other stuff y'all be talking about. I be confused.
All right, we got like 5 more minutes. We're actually over, but 5 more minutes. I want to answer this question. You probably don't know. You don't even know I was going to ask this question, but I got to ask this question. For us single people, right, we identify our purpose, we know where we want to go. How do we know who in dating? How do we know if that person who we're dating aligns with our purpose? Like, how do we know if they can complement us to help us? We complement each other to accomplish a purpose and to build something longevity long term. Because it's like, for me, I think a lot of single people are asking that question. Okay, I want to date right, but it's like I have this vision, I have this mission, I have this assignment that I'm supposed to be doing, but man, I'm dating someone and I find out that they don't align with it. So is there any advice that you've learned within marriage, how to make sure that you're aligning correctly?
Yeah, I'm going to say this, AO. I've been married 21 years.
Yeah.
Same woman.
Yeah.
And college sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a good marriage with a bad pick. The pick matters. I've coached past thousands of people. The pick matters. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't mean that things are going to be disastrous, if you don't. But here's the point that I'm making. To answer your question, there are two things I would tell a person to think.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be this. All right, I would say two things. One is going to be, okay, what are your hopes? What are your hopes? Like if you're honest, you know how people say in the marriage vows, for better, for worse.
Yep.
Most of the time, the emphasis is on the worse. You need to think about the better too. So if I get everything I hope for, will I still be okay with you? Right? Right? Like, so now I have nothing, but if I have everything and if I have options I've never had before in my life, if I'm exposed to people I never dreamed I'd be exposed to, is it better or worse? Because some people just choose people for worse and think that automatically translates into the better. And it doesn't. It doesn't always work that way. So it needs to be, I trust them with my worst and I trust them with my better. So like, what are your hopes there? Because here's the thing. The role your partner may play in helping you carry out your purpose is going to vary throughout the lifetime of that relationship. Wow. So some people say, yo, can she help me build something? Or can he help me build something? I think that's okay if that matters to you. But you do need to understand there may be a season where they helping you build differently.
Yeah.
Like, what if the kids are young? Mm-hmm. Then it might be different than when y'all didn't have kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't build a marriage based on a specific role. It's what are my hopes? If everything goes the way I dream, do I see this person fitting in that, no matter what role they play? And then the other thing is this, and this is the most important one. And we got to do a whole, maybe 2 years from now, we need to do a whole situation on this one.
Okay.
And
all right.
that is health. And when I say health, I mean your heart health, because that determines how you choose. You can't be unhealthy and make a healthy pick. It don't work that way. Now, here's the challenge. When you're unhealthy and you make an unhealthy pick, then you end up getting healthy. And when you end up getting you can end up getting healthy. Now you realize I picked something when I was unhealthy. Now that I'm healthy, I realize that ain't really what I want. The unhealthy me needed that. The healthy me doesn't. So I would say recognize that purpose requires more than me doing my best work. It requires me being my best self. And when I'm my best self, that's when I can make the best choice. That's why I love your message. Like, steward the single season. Steward it well so that you're in a healthy place and you can make a healthy pick.
Man. I wish I had a 2-hour show. I'm so serious. I mean, this was supposed to be a 30-minute show. My team was looking at me like, they pointed at the clock like, we have 50 minutes. But when it's good, you got to keep going, man. I mean, this is why I call him a friend, and this is why I call him a mentor. And I mean, what he and his wife have built from their church, from now they're on the entrepreneurial side, amazing. And what I like about Darius, you guys, is he is a man of character and a man of integrity. You're going to get the word of God for 110% free. He's going to help lead you to Christ for 110% free. He doesn't cross that line. Now, when you're ready to excel and get into the entrepreneurial world, you're going to pay him a little something, because you see all this knowledge he got.
Hey, yo, that's a great point. It is. And for anybody that's struggling with that line, okay, man, I'm a person of faith, or I'm not a person of faith, but I don't know what to charge and what not to charge for. For me, as a person of faith, I say anything having to do with salvation or sanctification, I never put a paywall in front of.
That's good.
I never put a paywall in front of teaching or talking about Jesus, or giving you anything that helps you become more like him.
Yeah.
Where there's a paywall is for optimization.
Oh, yeah.
Salvation, sanctification, no paywall. Optimization, that's the paywall, because now we stepping out of church and we stepping into business, because that's the way I help you optimize.
Man, listen. I need y'all to go spend $20. You're going to hit that paywall. Get this man's book, because he's going to bless you. He's definitely going to. I've paid him for his information, because the man is just wise and has helped me out. And I believe in the reason why I pay people, right? We're actually in the mastermind together. And before I even paid this amount for the mastermind, I was like, yo, should I do it? And the reason why I did is because I want to be in the room around people who are wiser and smarter than me, who can coach me in this season of my life. And so you may not be able to get in his room today, but you can get in around his room, around his thinking, by picking up his book. And I'm telling you right now, you will enjoy it. So go ahead and check that out. We're going to drop all this information in today's show notes, the link to his book in today's show notes. And y'all, make sure y'all follow my brother. This is the one and only Dr. Darius Daniels, a.k.a. Pastor Darius Daniels, and he will bless you. All right, so, hey, Dr. Darius, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate you. And it's not going to be 2 years. We may do this like once a year, once every 6 months or something like that.
Let's figure it out, brother. My honor.
Yes, sir. We love you, man. Appreciate you.